All right, well, welcome back, everybody. I just finished Dragon Ball GT episode 15, and if you've been listening to these reviews, then you know my major concern for the past maybe 2 episodes or so has been how they're gonna continue moving forward, whether that be between more episodic storylines or if they're gonna just continue right into the stuff with Dr. Mu. And it does appear that they will be doing more episodic storylines. However, they introduced a new character this episode called, I think, General Rills. I can't remember. I cannot remember most of these characters' names, okay? I'm sorry. I think it's General Rild, maybe, whatever. But my point is that even if they might be doing more episodic storylines, then at the very least, it appears they'll bring in more of those continuous serialized elements, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. But on to the episode itself. So, we get a little bit of life on board the spaceship. And Trunks is saying things are getting really dangerous. Maybe we should go back to Earth and swap Pan out for Goten. And Pan gets really mad. And then they find they detect a Dragon Ball, and they land on this desert planet, which is really hot. And the ship gets damaged. And Pan, because, she's angry at them, she goes and runs off. And because it's the desert, she basically nearly dies. And then, in what is perhaps the most pathetic moment I have ever seen from this character, she gets rescued by Gil, the tiny robot. Gil, the tiny robot with no significant fight, who has been shown to display no significant fighting, or any fighting ability for that matter, throughout the entirety of this series, is able to beat up like a giant Antlion worm monster, and Pan can't. Literally, when these giant monsters show up, because there's these giant, if you've ever played Link to the Past, then you know the sinkholes, and they have those monsters inside. So those things, these giant monsters show up, and they're the ones who damage the ship, and Goku and Trunks fight them off, and Pan just stands there and cries, and she doesn't do anything. She doesn't even attempt to beat one of these things up the entire episode. But Gil is able to do it. Gil, the tiny robot. And then Gil finds the Dragon Ball in an oasis, and at the end of the episode, Trunks well, you helped out, and no. I mean, this is not a good episode for Pan. This does not portray Pan in a very good light. I've been how to put this? I've been worried that Pan's just gonna be this annoying, useless character, and every time I'm well, maybe she won't be. We get an episode like this where it's just I didn't mind her being stuck as a doll, because at the end of that storyline, she did do something. She rallied everyone inside of Lude and everything, and that was a good moment for her character. But now we're at an episode like this where she just stands around, cries, runs away, is saved by a tiny robot. It's it is the most the most pathetic portrayal of this character. And it's there isn't there needs to be something to redeem her soon. But let me talk a bit about the bit of this episode that wasn't centered around Pan and the characters, which was Daltaki returning to base and introducing this new character, General Rild, who I think is going to be more of an antagonist, chasing our characters down. And Dr. Mu specified that he wants the Dragon Balls, and he wants these characters to be imprisoned. So I'm thinking he's gonna take them and perform some sort of experiments on them in order to find out how they're so strong, or maybe control them somehow for his own use. but that definitely won't be happening until like the final end of this arc. But on the bright side, they did manage to get another Dragon Ball. So they have 3 Dragon Balls now, and hopefully the others will go by much quicker than the second one. Because, like, the first one, they collected in a single episode. The second one, they almost collected in 2 episodes, but then it got stolen, so it took, like 5 or, I want to say 6 episodes to collect it in total. And now this one just took 1 episode to collect. So please, more 1 episode to collect Dragon Balls, please. That's my request going forward for this show. But I know I've been harsh on this episode. It's definitely not a good episode, but I feel like this is gonna be the I feel like this is gonna be the measuring stick for the rest of the series. I still like this episode better than episodes 7 and 8. Just because I like, it's better than episodes 7 and 8. Mainly because it's like resolved within 1 episode, so it doesn't go on for as long. But yeah, I like, I'm sort of at a homeostasis with this show, if I'm using that correctly. I'm probably not. Where, like, there are probably like, I'm watching it sort of like in a, okay, let's get this over with and move on to the next arc sort of attitude now. But at the same time, I don't think I'm in displeasure of it as much as other people are. If it came to me having to defend this show, I don't think I would defend it very passionately, if at all. But as I've said before, while I don't think it's the same thing as being entertained, but I am engaged by it to some level. You know what I mean? So hopefully, I feel like I've been saying this a lot. I really think I'm seeing elements which could be used, if properly used, then this show could be a lot more entertaining, because they're building up an actual villain now. They're building up, like, sort of. So I think, if they just collect the Dragon Balls, quickly, there's probably going to be some final climax at Dr. Mu's place or whatever. And we'll see what happens. I'm just sort of coasting. I'm coasting for the rest of this arc. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm just sort of not even indifferent, because I feel like I've been very, well, not very harsh, but pretty harsh, not very positive towards it. And this episode, certainly, it's just like, ugh. Like there's so often where, like, I feel like Pan's character, you could flip a coin and she has a 50% chance of crying and a 50% chance of actually doing something. Like I don't, like, the situations in which she cries are, like, nonsensical a lot of the times. Like, she can infiltrate this, like, base full of villains and beat them up, and, like, she doesn't cry then. But when some giant worms come, in this episode, she's like, oh, then she'll cry. But if it's giant worms in that asteroid that they were at earlier and they're indestructible, then she won't cry at that. But these ones she will, even though they're much easier to defeat. And it's like that's another thing which bothers me, is, like, the inconsistency of when she cries and when she doesn't cry. Like, there was, like, one episode earlier where she just got hit in the head with a tin can and she began crying, and it's like, really? A tin can? Like, you're like this trained martial artist who's stronger than, like, most of the people on the entire planet, probably the entire universe, and a tin can is what gets you to cry. And like her introduction was like her introduction was setting her up to be this really strong character, because she like beat up those robbers with like armed like machine guns, no problem. But then you get stuff like this where it's like, really, she's gonna burst out crying and run away. This is what we're doing. So yeah, I have mixed feelings on Pan's portrayal in this, but that's all for now. That's all I have to say for now. See you guys next time. If you enjoyed these reviews, please check out the other ones. I'm doing the entirety of Dragon Ball GT, watching it through for the first time. So, yeah, see you next time.